Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we're taking a look at the Maker uniform for Mr. Fantastic, changing him into a supervillain and creating a lot of questions. And I have them myself, believe me, so I'm going to try to answer them. But yeah, if you're wondering whether this character is an enigma, yeah, you are not alone. So we're going to be using the best villain supports we have, which, well, the best supports for Mr. Fantastic, which are Thing and Taskmaster. I could have used Shuri instead of Thing as well. Now, there are quite a few changes. There are quite a few differences between this uniform and the previous uniform for Mr. Fantastic. So let's go. We're going to go over all of them, but the biggest one, besides the fact that he turns into a villain, the villain one is huge. But the other biggest one for regular world boss is that now he has all defense down. So you can see there on his fourth skill, he actually applies all defense down. It's actually quite a bit. It's 60 or 65%, which was definitely going to help you against regular world boss. It has no, absolutely no bearing on squad battle, world boss, legend, etc. But against regular world bosses, it definitely is going to make him hit harder. And because of that, he is going to appear better. Well, we'll see about that, but yeah, basically that's the answer here. I have the old time in front of me for how long it took him to complete this stage, so well, you'll see. When you see, you'll see. It's pretty interesting. Let's finish her off here with this roar. And so we clock in at a startling 3 minutes 30 seconds, which is eerily close to his old best time of 3 minutes 27 seconds. Now, 3-second difference. You're probably looking at yourself, you're looking at me, you're like, I'm not buying that uniform. That's dumb. That's a 3-second increase. And I honestly think this is a lot of what you're going to see, because villains just don't have the buffs that heroes have, especially when it comes to regular World Boss Ultimate content, or just any content that's not World Boss Legend or DRX. So that's where Maker is going to sort of fall short, even though he can now apply all defense down. So in this fight here, I never applied all defense down. I never switched to White Fox. I never dropped the all defense down or anything. And he was only 3 seconds slower. But he had, he had 100% increased damage to villains, on top of having 20% guaranteed crit from Coulson to allow him to crit with his rage more consistently, and White Fox was giving him chain hit damage, and White Fox was giving him 30% ignore dodge for whatever that's worth. So yeah, a lot of buffs. Here, he has 45% increase or 40% increased damage to villains, and then Thing gives him 40% all attack and 20% increased damage to bosses, which I think is probably worth close to 30-40% increased damage to villains, so it ends up being better than just a Shuri buff. But you're probably looking at the difference in time, and you're thinking, like, why would I get him for that reason, right? Well, he is a villain, so you do have the flexibility of having either a hero or a villain, sort of like Namor. But yeah, besides that, they really didn't change much about him. They actually in some ways made him worse as Maker, which is a bit annoying. So they definitely upped the damage on his 5th skill, but all of the buffs and things are the same. They added minus 65% all defense down on his 4th skill, which is obviously really good for World Boss Ultimate. And if you use another leadership, you can, especially without Pierce, you can achieve close to 90% all defense down, which is really, really nice for just, shredding through Proxima and Corvus and other bosses that are not called Null and Mephisto. And then they swapped his 3rd skill, so it loses the super armor, it loses the accumulation, but now you have an iframe. So for those of you that don't like playing Mr. Fantastic with the rubber drill, for those of you that don't like the, I have to get hit first before I can counterattack sort of play style, a la Sharon Rogers, a la, Luke Cage and those types of characters, if you don't like that, then the Maker uniform is going to be easier for you. But they also took away the invincibility from the 3rd skill, and yeah, they replaced it with an iframe, but it's not that safe. There is actually, a lot of times where I can get one-shotted when I'm trying to combo in 4 cancel 5. It doesn't matter to do that combo when you're fighting against Null or Mephisto, because you don't have to apply all defense down, but against other bosses it can be kind of sketchy, because when you come out of the iframe, you have to do 4 into 5, and you're completely naked at that point. So if you don't position yourself properly, you get hit by a tornado, you get snared, frozen, whatever, you're basically going to get one shot and die. He still doesn't have a heal. He still doesn't have iframe ignore or reflect or any other, things. They did buff his passive, so now his passive gives him all damage reduction. Where is it? Yeah, he gets all damage reduction 30%. What was it before? It was physical damage. So yeah, they gave him basically 30% energy damage reduction. And I believe his uniform bonus is a little bit better. He gets 35% all attack instead of, nope, it's exactly the same. So yeah, that's really the problem with Maker that I have is that it feels like you're splitting hairs. Now maybe the devs thought that Mr. Fantastic was already good enough and didn't really need a buff. So rather than buff him up, they sort of buffed him laterally. They made him a little bit better for some things and a little bit worse for other things. But yeah, I just can't really recommend it at this point. He's not that good for PvP. He's not that good for any other content. Certainly not a lot better than he was before. So if you weren't using him before, you might not use him now. Anyways, we're going to run through the rest of these tests now. We have this team up here, which is exactly the same team up we used before. Just for reference, in case you're wondering, I was able to clear Null here with, I believe, 2 minutes to spare. Wow. It's a good little screenshot there. Yeah, 150, 149. So we're going to, or 140, 146. So we'll see if we can beat that time with the same team up. We're actually just going to modify this a little bit. We're going to take out one of these strikers and add in Venom because, yeah, we don't want him to die. So here we go against Null, and basically you're just going to go through the rotation normally because now you don't have to worry about accumulating, but the problem is you're going to get knocked back. So it's sort of a give up one thing to get another thing. Now his sixth skill still really hits really hard. No doubt about that. No doubt about that in my mind. His sixth skill hits really hard. And I did a little bit of testing, and it almost seems like his sixth skill, like his ultimate skill, Fantastic Punch, actually does more damage with his new uniform, despite the fact that it's the same damage multiplier and it's the exact same number of hits. So it's a little weird, but seems to be better. We're gonna get caught here by the poison, but we can heal up with Venom. I'm gonna go into the 5. Now the 5, you have to kind of let it play out because those stomps at the end, when he puts himself into a ball, those actually deal a lot of damage. He's got really cool animations. Like, I really love Mr. Fantastic, the Maker uniform, because of how gorgeous the animations are. But I was really hoping that the leader of the Fantastic Four, right, would have a more substantial buff. It really seems like Johnny is the big winner from this update overall in terms of just 0 to hero type buffs that he got. So we're gonna pop this here. Really, I guess only 4 is what you need to pop before you do 6, because 4 has the frenzy buff. Now I think Null does physical damage, so I don't even think you're gonna notice that extra damage reduction against Null specifically. It's kind of funny. And we weren't even able to get him down to the next phase without skipping that part there. So I actually think we're behind on the time right now. And then we also can't pop his 6 here because we're too close. He canceled my 3. Cool. Yeah, we're a little bit behind now, but, his damage is extremely similar. For better or for worse. So we're going to pop 4, then pop 6. Get that frenzy buff there. And then we Oda. Now squeezing in the 5 is useful here because you have that accumulation from the 6. Here I'm just trying to build up, I'm just trying to accumulate, or not accumulate, sorry, build up before the tier 3. Okay. So we want to have that tier 3 ready to go. But yeah, it's extremely similar timing between the two, between the two uniforms. And unfortunately, that is just how it is for Mr. Fantastic. We actually didn't even proc our rage there. It's kind of bad. See, I could have popped his tier 3. Took so long to proc. Yeah, the thing is, if I had popped his tier 3, then we wouldn't have been able to pop it right at the beginning of the fight. So this is right at the beginning of the next phase. So this is actually going to end up being slower than his other clear. But, you know, it's really dollars to donuts. His 5th skill and 6th skill definitely do more damage, but you've lost the accumulation on his 3rd skill. And by losing that accumulation, you've basically lost a buff. Now, if you don't know how to play around that buff, then he's probably going to seem a lot stronger to you. But otherwise, I'm actually going to die here. Yeah. He seems slower here because I was playing a bit more passively, trying to save the tier 3 for this phase specifically. But yeah, I'm a little bit, like I said, I'm a little bit disappointed with how lateral the buff is. He doesn't seem better. He seems exactly the same. The playstyle is a little bit different. It's a little bit riskier, but also a little bit easier because you don't have to worry about the accumulation. So your damage is more consistent overall, I would say. His damage is definitely more consistent. But at the same time, it does feel like, you know, you're sort of just, it's a reskin, basically. This one definitely feels more like a reskin to me. Let me see now. He was able to clear stage 9 of Mephisto in about 1 minute 5 seconds. So this is the final test here. Let's see if we can notice a more substantial buff against Mephisto. Come on now, Maker. Maker my day, baby. He's so cool. He like becomes a giant ball. He does all this stuff here. We get snared by the tornadoes like a bazillion times. We lose half our HP. Awesome. You know, standard Mr. Fantastic stuff, standard Maker stuff. But yeah, for such an iconic character, I'm a little bit, I have to say I'm a little bit disappointed that they didn't try harder to make him more unique in terms of the abilities. Like, they definitely made him unique in terms of his skill animations. You know, he's got on his 3rd skill, he headbutts you when his head and his neck are the only parts still up in the air. You have to look pretty closely, but it's really sick. But you know, I feel like they focused so much on the animations that they forgot to actually transform this character in a meaningful way in terms of the buffs and things. And so if you give some of that creativity that they gave to Mephisto over to Maker, oh man, that would Maker my day, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, pretty cheesy joke. I like his 3rd skill though. I just really wish there were some more buffs. And you know what? For those of you wondering, I've been playing with SFX for the past couple days. I really dig it. He might actually be quite a bit tankier against Mephisto because Mephisto's going to deal energy damage, right? And so he's going to have a 30% energy damage reduction because of his passive. So yeah, you know what? You should notice he's probably not going to seem tankier against Null, but you should notice him being tankier against Mephisto. And of course, I ran right into that. That was pretty bad. I mean, his 6th skill still slaps. I'm really glad that they kept his 6th skill the way it is. The only problem is here we probably will get guard broken if we don't get if we do get interrupted, because he doesn't have super armor anymore. Let's finish him off here. Nice. Maybe Mephisto is where he's going to see the biggest improvement. Maybe. Maybe, or maybe I'm just being optimistic. But you see, I get snared there, whereas otherwise I wouldn't get snared. Again, not the biggest deal in the world, but... And of course, it's so easy to accumulate against Mephisto that I kind of miss not having the opportunity to accumulate. I don't even have a chance. Okay, we need to, Okay, I didn't want to... Yeah, no. Not what I wanted to do, per se. Still pretty quick on his feet, even though he has an oversized brain. See, if you could get the chain hit, like if you got a chain hit bonus, then I can totally understand why this uniform would actually perform a lot better, because his 4th skill has a lot more hits. But I think it'd be really hard to get the timing down on 4 cancel 5 to make a CTP of energy work. I could be wrong, though. Maybe that's something that I'm not considering because I have a rage on my, you know, Mr. Fantastic. So maybe 4 cancel 5 with an energy is actually going to do a whole lot more damage now than it would have before. But yeah, otherwise this is looking like an extremely similar time. Yeah, that would be the combo. 4 cancel 5 with the proc. Let the 5 play out. And then we have to run a little bit here. But we will be able to pop the... Yeah, and you could do 4 cancel 5 cancel 6. I don't think 5 lasts. But yeah, 107. Is that not... I'm pretty sure that's exactly the same time that it was. Like, I think I just got it down to the second there, not on purpose, accidentally, but no. Oh, that was Null. Nah, I thought it was Mephisto. Yeah, that was like 2 seconds faster. I swear I'm not doing this on purpose, but yeah, so 3 seconds faster against Proxima, but you can weigh the value of the buffs, right? The support buffs. Slower against Null because I played a bit more passively, and then 2 seconds faster against Mephisto. These are not the kind of uniforms that we want to see in 2021. And I think I speak for most players when I say that. Very, very cool uniform in terms of the looks. Very iconic character who is pretty new in the comics. Amazing skill animations. Really, really dope. But it is in the pudding, right? Not the look of the pudding, but it's actually in the ingredients where we see no real creativity. So we just need a little bit of that Mephisto creativity sprinkled in to make Maker a little bit better. So yeah, I would sort of cross my fingers for a little buff to this uniform. He definitely doesn't need a lot, but if they just gave him, I mean, to be honest, if they just gave him the accumulation back, and the accumulation and the invincibility on his 3rd skill, that would be more than enough to make this an absolute must-buy. But right now, even with the 50% discount, I don't think Mr. Fantastic is going to be used in any content that he wasn't already being used in. So unless you were already using Mr. Fantastic, you can safely pass in this uniform as it currently stands. Hopefully the devs will look into it, but you know, they're really busy with a lot of other stuff, so we might not get the chance to get a buff for this uniform. Hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.